What's out there? What creates the shadows in the corners or the creatures of the dark? Who are those on the other side? What do they have to say? This is the Gateway Podcast. This is not your normal style of paranormal talk radio. Brought to you live from United Public Radio Network, 107.7 FM New Orleans.
Hi, and thank you all for joining us today. We are broadcasting live on the United Public Radio Network and the UFO Paranormal Radio Network.
The Church of Mavis Radio Show, Friday nights at 8 p.m., 7 Central, starring Jeffrey Pritchett with his co-hosts Wham and Jay McNicholas, right here on the United Paranormal Radio Network, UPRN 107.7 FM, New Orleans.
Tune in to UFO Undercover, Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern, with your host, Joe Montaldo, right here on the Paranormal Radio Network.
When they are consuming your minds and your thoughts and your dreams, from the angels to the demons and to the mysteries unseen, there is no need to worry. There is no need for dread. It's just time to discuss the thing at the foot of the bed.
I had enough.
Well, you drove out there into the middle of nowhere and had some sort of loud verbal display challenging ET in general out in the middle of nowhere?
That's what I was doing. I actually had a pistol in my hand at the time. I was really ticked off. When I was having this fit, I was waving the gun in the air, okay, and I had this fit. And at this moment, I said, okay.
He was a Louisiana man named Montaldo. Folks around called him Six Gun Joe. Worked with ICAR, don't you know? Investigating UFOs. Out for a drive with a gal one night, they stopped to check out the reporting site. When an alien lit right there on the ground, commenced to throwing his weight around. Now, old Six Gun didn't take too kindly to that kind of thing, especially without Vaseline or anything like that, you know. Seriously. Well, Six Gun looked that critter right in the eye and said, "Any last wish before you die?" Yo, reached for his gun, quick as a twitch, and said, "Fill your claw, you son of a bitch." Now a legend spread across the land about this pistol-waving man. But if you're from space or from Earth below, you don't give no lip to Six Gun Joe.
Welcome to UFO Undercover with your host, Joe Montaldo.
Well, thank you, Natasha, for bringing us in like that. That was so very nice of you. Welcome, everyone, to UFO Undercover. I'm Joe Montaldo, and Jay's hiding over there somewhere. Jay McNicholas, there he is. He's back. How's everybody doing tonight? Everybody's been good. You know, like I like to say every week, I hope everyone's having a great morning, great evening, great afternoon, wherever you are on our big, beautiful blue planet. Last I checked, there is no countries that this show does not go out, including North Korea and Venezuela. We actually are in countries that, well, I know BBC and CNN, ABC can't get into. We're actually in several countries in the Middle East that BBC and CNN is banned from. Oh yes, for multiple reasons why, but they're actually banned. I've seen CL stop by in the
Really
chat.
nice
Hey,
things
CL.
about those countries sometimes.
Hey, CL, how you doing? You know, I just played your promo as your intro as a promo. It sounded really good too, by the way. Sounds good. I know, ladies and gentlemen, y'all used to having promos back. Pretty soon they're going to be back on all the shows in the network. I've just been seeing how I want to arrange them. I use our shows to arrange everything before we go aggravate the host and tell them what they have to be doing. Wait, who's confronting an alien with a gun? Who would be stupid enough to use a gun on an alien?
The song Six Gun Joe.
Oh, in the song. Oh, well, because I'm an idiot. That's why. That's actually that song is a true story. So what happened? This is so long ago. Had the people listening to this is probably it wasn't even born yet. So long ago, many moons ago, I used to host a show called Wake Up USA, a UFO study. I mean, it's where I started in radio. I used to host a support group on Power Talk. And this guy used to come in and listen all the time. And he owned an AM station in Riverside, Iowa, the future home of Captain Kirk, the future birthplace of Captain Kirk, I should say. So 1690 Riverside, Iowa. Yeah, I was his premiere show. Anyway, I started hosting with him. And real quick, my very first show, I got into a fight with the guest. Lucky I didn't get fired. Really and truly. I mean, I got a big nasty fight in the guest. But over the years, this is kind of where the UFO stuff, we use a lot of this place and time for our UFO stuff. Well, I was talking about something that happened to Linda and I in Honey Island Swamp. And it's true. I was tired. I was aggravated. I was tired of dealing with little bits of that and little bits of this and little bits of this and little bits of that. And there was a group of us out there that night. We were running some experiments on how grays work in threes and can enough telepaths block a gray or stop a gray or even slow a gray down. So that's actually what the experiments were about. Maybe in the second hour we'll talk about that more. But anyway, I was just getting pissed because there's no show. So I'm out there with my pistol in my hand, waving in the air like a madman, not at anybody, just in the air, and cussing. I said, well, why don't you just come on out here and we can, and of course, like the alien's going to come out with a madman with a 45 Magnum in his hand with a 21 round clip in it. I would have thought, really, truly, I was just trying to force him into doing something, just something, even if it was retaliation or some type of retaliation. I don't know, I'm tongue tied tonight. It's, even if it was retaliation, it would have still been something. I just wanted something, when you do this a long time, you need proof that it's real. You don't need circumstantial evidence. You need proof. If you're going to put your ass out there and your name out there, and make your life harder because you're going to talk about this in public, you need proof. Eventually, I got the proof I was looking for, both from them and from the government. But still, on that particular time, I'd been doing it a long time. I was aggravated. I was mad. No, I wasn't buzzed. I wasn't even drinking. I don't take my gun out if I've been drinking. Never should take your gun out when you've been drinking, because you're going to do something stupid with it.
Yes.
So it's just best to leave it in the car or locked it. Wherever you keep it, you should just leave it there when you've been drinking. We'll talk about that on Friday night.
Yeah, well, that goes for any weapon: sword, knife, nunchucks.
Yeah, that's true.
Don't ever get drunk and show off, because you're either going to shoot off somebody's kneecap or hit yourself in the head with a stick.
Oh yeah, well, I cracked myself in the nads with one time. Like to put myself in a hospital. I was showing off. That's pretty good with him. I was like, "Whoops!"
Well,
that's what happens when you get a little buzz. Psst.
Yeah, I know. I used to teach nunchaku in a karate school for 6 years when I was a teenager, and I've been swinging since I was 13. 58. Somebody can do the math. I'm terrible at it. And I've only hit myself in the nads twice in that time, and a lot of times in the head. I mean, people laugh at me when I say I've been hitting the head a lot. It's not because I played football. I played with really fat,
I remember when I was learning how, when you just go around your head, especially with the chain ones, because I was doing it one day and I didn't realize it. And because most of the time when I was younger, I had short hair. And at this particular time, my hair's grown out a little bit. Well, when I ran around, the freaking thing caught my hair and pulled it. And it caught me off guard. So when it did, I jerked. And when I jerked, of course, the other one came back and smacked me right there. I was like, people, nunchucks are great. And I can swing the shit out of them, but you got to be careful with them.
You got to be very careful. Before we move on to aliens, I'll just tell you, I've got a pair over here that I thought were cocobolo. I think they're actually Indian ebony, or one of the more harder woods, harder than cocobolo. Everyone thinks it's the hardest. It's not. But they each stick. There's 2 sticks. Each one of them weighs 1.90 pounds. 2 pounds.
It's nice. It's a nice bit of weight.
4-pound pair of nunchaku, and it has a really short metal chain. It's not the normal length of 7 chains. It's got 5, I think. So it's missing 3 inches of chain. Mm-hmm. And I cracked myself in the head with that thing so many times. God,
because you what's that, Jackie? I've actually broke a couple of pairs. Yeah, I broke a black pair, an octagon shaped pair, just a wooden pair with a chain, swivel chain. I hit a telephone pole, not a telephone pole, a light pole, concrete light pole, broke it. Oh, splintered it. Yeah, well, it was going pretty fast when it hit it, so it just kind of like.
You can get them moving faster. Meaning as fast as at least a guy pitches a fastball.
Well, I'm amazed how fast you can get with him. I really was. I was really surprised, and actually, what I was doing at the time, I was playing darts for a living, so I would stop. It was good for my reflexes and my hand-eye coordination.
Hand-eye coordination for sure, and your reflexes.
So being that I was playing darts for a living, it helped with my hand-eye coordination. But I loved them. At one time, I had over 100 pairs. No, I had to get rid of them. Both the states I live in right now outlawed them. Oh yeah, they made them illegal.
I've got about 30 pairs over there in the pile. It's in that dark corner, right where my hand is. But
no, I used to have them hung up. Well, there's a picture I have to show y'all. I used to have them hung on the wall like my swords are. Well, my swords are in the other room, but
I kind of have my swords on the wall. I don't know if anyone can see them. I'll try to point the camera there, but
yeah, I can see them. Yeah, point it up some though. There you go. Yeah, there they are. There, that's him right there. I got him. I can see him. Yeah. It's nice to collect stuff like that.
Yeah. Anyone breaks into this house when I'm in this room, oh God forbid, if they don't have a gun.
Hey, you're gonna have a gun. My sword will be ting, 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 ting.
I've got them. They're here. It'll be, if I'm awake, no one's getting out alive.
So my dragon swords, which are a 3-piece set, they all have throwing knives embedded into the handle of the sword.
Oh, that's cool. I've seen ninja swords with those.
Yeah, so that's what these are. They're ninja swords. Those obviously weren't Japanese made. They were obviously American made because they were 440 surgical steel.
Or very well Chinese made.
Oh, could have been Chinese. No, I don't think they were Chinese. Something about the type of steel.
Nunchaku that's on steroids. It's called Sensetsu-kan, or 3-sectional staff. It's 3.
Yes, and they're a pain in the ass to learn how to work.
Staff split in 3 with chain connectors between them, and the reach on these things. And it used to be pretty good with it, but you crack yourself with this, you better have somebody nearby watching it because it's gonna knock you out.
Yeah. What's that, Jeffrey? No, we're talking UFOs. We're
Anyway,
just messing around.
we got.
What's my favorite sword? You mean my favorite sword? Here, I'll show you my favorite. Right here next to me. I'm ready for anybody now. Come on, baby. Come on. I'm ready. I'm ready, man. Come on, people. I got my lightsaber.
Laser sword any day of the week with this thing. Even
you
in
can't
this short
cheat with
mode.
the thunder. No, that's Thundercat, so you can't cheat with that. That only works on evil people anyway.
All energies, so it would turn your sword off.
What's that, Christopher? No, you mean my real swords? No, I have. You see that rack behind Jay? I have 3 full racks. Yeah.
Wow.
Well, because I bought them in.
That one holds 8, and one of them is the 3 sectional staff. So there's 7 swords on there.
Yeah. So what I did is I don't know how this happened. I had actually bought a Highlander sword.
That's a cool one.
Not the Highlander, not the ninja sword, not the dragon sword. I bought I can't remember his name, the one with the big steel,
Claymore.
So anyway, I bought it, and I said, I really didn't like the style. So then I seen the one Connor McLeod carried, the one Duncan carried, and I said, you know what, I'm gonna get one of those. So the first time I went to buy one, I grabbed it by the hilt, and I'm like, wait, the blade moves. The blade. I said, so then the rule was no swords that the blade didn't go all the way through the hilt. If it didn't go through the hilt, I didn't want it because I want to be able to use them. Yes, I've actually fought with my swords. I love playing with them. So that's why you want to make sure you get the right kind of steel and the right kind of hilt, because if not, you're just going to break them.
Yeah.
So what happens is I decided, well, they came in 3-piece sets. There was the long sword, the one that you commit Harry carry with, and then the little sword. And I forgot the names, all 3 of them. I used to know them, but
it's Honto is the knife which you commit harikiri with. The middle one is wakizashi, that's the short sword, and then there's the long sword, which is wakizashi. I'm sorry, katana, and then there's a great sword shaped just like the katana called katana kake, which is, I think, overall is like 56. It's like a claymore. It's like a 6 foot tall sword, 6 foot long sword. It's huge.
What do you mean? Yeah, no. The my dragon swords all have on each side of the sword itself, because it's got a handle. The hilt's about this long, and you can see the metal come all the way through. And it's
hold 2 hands like this.
Yes, and it's a dragon. It's like a Chinese dragon wrapped around, coming down, and at the end, its mouth out like this. Well, right where it wraps around the handle, right where it wraps around the sword, it starts right on the side of there. Is I forgot what you call the little things that sit on there. There's 2 throwing knives in there, so that you can just reach. If you got your sword up and it's passing, you can reach down like this as you're going by, and a guy think your sword's coming out here, and you'll be releasing a throwing knife this way. Yeah, he's dead. Sorry, he just died. No, it's fun, man. I used to play with them all the time. But you got to be careful because they are collector's items, and you don't want to be chipping blades and stuff. It's hard to chip a blade in a real sword.
And some of the collector's items, they won't sharpen them for you at the factory, so you have to get a professional, knife maker to sharpen it for you, or someone who knows what they're doing in sharpening a knife.
And I like that nice diamond pattern on it. That's why I always go take mine to have them sharpen. I can sharpen anything because I grew up hunting, but it's a particular pattern I like, and I'm not confident enough with the pattern to do it myself. So I don't want to mess up the way the blade looks or the way the blade cuts. Every sword in that wall I could cut a piece of paper with. You could hold it like that and then just oh, yeah, they meant to kill people.
By the way, bad for your blades. Don't do that.
Actually, all them swords are for the zombie apocalypse when it comes, man. Screw them guns, man. You got to be cutting heads off.
Ornamental, but have a function. There's the really crappy ones I have are upstairs. I mean, I have ones that the handles jiggle, but I also have a sword from Museum Replicas. It's a rapier. So it will probably go through most knife resistant vests because it's not sharp. It's not designed to be sharp. It's designed to poke and break bones. That's why it's made out of spring steel. So when you used it, the guy with the breastplate, metal plate, the sword goes and ricochet into the soft parts in the neck and the shoulder and the hips. And that's probably one of the best ones for the zombie apocalypse because they'll go right through a soggy brain. Zombie dead.
Yes, we're talking about the zombie apocalypse. Anyway, we're going to get to the real topics. But if you're ever interested and you want to buy, get in touch with one of us. We'll help you so you don't get yourself ripped off. Because some swords are expensive and some are not.
Yeah,
you can get a nice collection.
Places out there to get them, but you want to research first, always. Well, no matter what kind of weapon you're going to get, whether it's a pocket knife,
Yeah, it really
gun,
doesn't.
bow and arrow, research. Look at magazines. Buy the magazines that go to the sport, whether it's shotgun or bow and arrow. Find out what the guys are using in the field.
Well, you go to if you want to just shop swords, you can go to Dragon Con or Tampa Con or Fanex. There's two
Any
or three
con.
sword companies
Any
there.
convention will have a sword seller.
Yeah, but just know, I think the cheapest sword they had at Dragon Con was $779.
Yeah, at the smaller cons, you're going to see guys with mostly crap. If you don't know how to tell, pick it up.
Yeah.
If it's got a hollow sounding handle or the hilt jiggles, move on.
Yeah, unless you just want it for a collection and it's only like $25.
If it's a wall hanger, who cares if it falls apart, right?
Well, remember this, people. Even if the hilt jiggles, later on, if the zombie apocalypse comes, you can take that hilt off of there, or either open it up and put the sword all the way down and wrap it, or make you a handle yourself, wrap your own handles. I've done that before.
Here's a good segue on the screen below us.
Actually, I did. So since we're talking about UFOs, I was saving this for the second hour because we were talking about aliens then. But so this one couple who lives in New York, I'm not going to mention any names. So they decided that they were waiting for the reptilians. They knew they were coming to get them. They knew it. They were coming to get them. So, and then most contactees will tell you, or most abductees will tell you, that they get this weird sense that something's coming before it actually happens.
Mm-hmm.
When the abductions are coming. So they waited, and then they heard this noise in the backyard, and then they heard the sliding glass door open, so they knew it was going. I'm thinking, well, reptilians in the backyard, sliding glass, I'm not sure. So him and his wife jump down, start swinging these swords, and it's a burglar. Robbing the house. Oh man, can you imagine this poor bastard when his eyes went, holy shit, I can just see this guy's face. Well, what makes it even worse, so the cops come. Well, the people didn't want to tell them what they were doing with the sword, so the wife and the husband said they were just down in the living room practicing sword fighting, which of course, wasn't true. So after that, they went back to bed, they put the swords up. They get up in the morning, they've got marks all over their body because they had been taken. And all the swords in the house were piled in the living room up in a thing like this where the hilts were on the bottom and all the blades came up. And they were so intertwined that they couldn't get them apart.
Wow.
There was no glue, no metal, nothing heated, nothing melted. Whoever arranged them just knew how to arrange them.
Crop circle of swords?
That's basically what it was.
Wow.
So the guy took a picture, he put it on there. Him and his wife, he got in shorts and she got in shorts and a top. And I mean, there were literally bruises all over, claw marks, scratch marks. And the worst part of it all, he had a granite countertop in his kitchen. And it just said, you really think, how did it say it? We're not that stupid. That's all it said. And it's still there. Even today, it's still in that because he never got rid of the top because he still owns the house.
So
it's all.
They've been regularly abducted by the reptilians. They're certain, and then they had the swords for some time. The reptilians must have known that they had them.
I'm sure they did if they've been in the house.
And they formulated this plan in their heads to attack them when they came to get abducted with the swords, and that's when the swords were destroyed.
Well, they weren't actually destroyed; they were just interlocked.
Yeah, woven into a pattern.
So they sat there. What he did was he left them on the floor and he made a top for them, and he made a table out of it. He got a piece of marble because they cut marble. They do floors and stuff. So he cut a round piece and brought it home and made a top out of it. And it stayed there forever. And he said he remembers sitting on his bed one night and says, look, we're not going to try it again. Please let me have my swords back. I want to put them back on my walls. And I want to fight with them again. And he said the very next morning he was waking up and he heard what sounded like something rolling around, like the tabletop. And when he got down there, the swords were all laid out all the way around the living room, touching each other in a rectangle shape. Wow. He was like, so he knew that somebody had been there. So whoever put them together took them apart. What's that, Jackie? Well, we're assuming it's aliens. Now, you know what they say about when you make an assumption, you make an ass out of you and me. But That's the best assumption, yes, that it was an extraterrestrial that did it. Well, because no one could figure out, no one who came over to the house could figure out how to get this. No one could even figure out how they were interlaced like that to make it the way you couldn't get them apart. I mean,
Well,
they picked them up and even threw them on the ground.
You'd have to reinvestigate, and maybe you'd go back and find out that the guy's just an expert welder, and he made this thing as a table stand to get himself some advertising. Why not get on a UFO show and get popular? You know.
Well, you know the guy on I can't remember the show. It's a TV show where they bring him in and let him make knives and swords and stuff.
Oh, Forged in Fire.
Yeah, that's it. So you know the Chinese guy?
Yes. Forget. Yes.
Well, anyway,
his name doesn't come to my head, but yes, the knife fighter guy. Yes.
What's he say? It will kill.
It will heal.
Heal.
Heal. Heal.
Yeah, he does not complete the word completely, but he said that he was commissioned to make a samurai sword for an extraterrestrial.
Really?
Yeah. So I was listening to this guy. So I looked it up a little bit, and what it really came down was some gentleman from the government came to him with specific specifications for a sword and asked him to make this, and he said this was at behest of a reptilian alien. That's what he told the guy. And he said, I never knew. He said, I never wanted to think this story was true. He said, but this was like an oversized samurai sword. He said, I could barely even lift this thing. He said, there's no way I could fight with it. He said, as far as I know, there is no way any normal human could fight. He said, maybe, when Lou Ferrigno was his biggest, or maybe when one of these giant guys were giant. Yeah. What's the guy, Jaws, that plays Jaws? Maybe somebody like that. He said, but
Richard Keel. Yeah.
Yeah. He said, no normal person was going to be able to fight. It was just too heavy. Now, if you're 7 or 8 foot tall, 600 pounds, yeah, it's just a normal knife to you. Their muscles 4 or 5 times the size of ours, so it's not a big deal for them. They're probably with it, and we're like, get off the ground.
It's like a letter opener to them versus
Not to say that a samurai sword wouldn't kill one of them if
you could probably chock a truck with it. It's that big.
Yeah. It's not to say a samurai sword wouldn't kill a reptilian. Yeah, you could probably stab him right through the heart if you could get close enough to do it. But I'm not sure they just couldn't grab the blade and break it. I mean,
or bend it to make it useless. If it's made out of good steel, it would just be, and you're like holding a lollipop at that point.
There's a lot of ways to test a sword when you buy it, and one of them is you take it and you put it in something that's stationary and you pull it left or right. Yeah. Now, know this before you do this. If it's a cheap sword, it's gonna probably break,
or it'll bend. Keep a bend.
Yeah. Or it'll bend and it'll keep a bend. It won't come back. So a good sword, you'll stick it down. You can bend it way over to the left and just let it go, and it'll pop right back. You can do it the other way too, and it'll pop right back.
A good example of anyone who's seen the Three Musketeers movies, like where they throw their rapiers and it hits the wall and then it goes and like wiggles at the end. If you stick it in a stump, your sword, and you can just do that. You don't have to bend it. Just stick it solidly, tip first into a solid stump, and pull it.
Hey, Joe.
Just a little bit and let go and see how. And let it bounce. And if it stops straight standing up, you probably got a good sword.
But over the years, we've probably had 12, 15 cases where people have talked about reptilians and swords. People at one time, they were not as advanced as they are today. They were like us at some point, or they had some beginning somewhere without technology, just like the rest of us did. At least,
well, think about it like this. So they probably, each of them have a different hobby. I have a hobby. I like to collect weapons. You like to collect weapons. Why wouldn't one of them? You collect primitive weapons. Like Star Trek, Sulu was an expert marksman with revolvers. And then he also, later on in the movies, we find out he had an expertise in driving helicopters. So why wouldn't they want to go back and try ancient old technologies or collect swords on primitive planets? They keep those, natives alive, especially the ones they're experimenting with. You make a good weapon, keep it.
Gene, Michelle DeRoche will be with us in 2 weeks.
Hey, Joe.
Not next Wednesday, the Wednesday after. She will be our guest. Yes. Yeah. Well, Jay's hosting by himself. I'm taking a night off.
I'll call Sean. He'll pop in.
I'm sorry. So I don't exactly know why these things come out, but they do from time to time get let out. Gene, I don't know. I was talking about this last week. They had called me and asked me to keep my schedule open from the middle of November to like the second week of December for filming. So we'll see. But they don't always. I've done quite a bit of TV and radio, not as much as Michelle has, but the thing of it is they don't always take you. Now, if they
Yeah,
do
and
one with
when they
ancient
do,
aliens on alien abductions without me, then I don't know what the hell's wrong there.
even
That's
when they
some
do come
scamming
ready for
bullshit.
an interview, ask Joe. Anybody will tell you that they'll probably for like they want you for, let's say, 5 minutes of a hour-long show. They will probably on the order of 5 or 6 hours of videotape
ACL.
interview you for 5 minutes.
It's
I'm not kidding you.
Oh no, so this is how it usually works. When I go with any of the companies, I've done Discovery, History Channel, and I forget the other one, but and then Netflix and a couple other things besides that and Hulu. So the thing of it is, so they'll fly me in. They'll usually fly me to DC, New York, or LA, one of the three. They pay for everything. They usually give me a nice hotel room. If Prometheus is doing, they give me a really nice hotel room, and then it's 5 hours, maybe 6 hours of talking for 3 to 5 minutes of content. Yes, I'm not shitting y'all. 5 hours of talking for 3 to 5 minutes of content. But in all fairness to Ancient Aliens, they use that stuff sometimes in other shows.
On other shows, yeah.
So they don't tell you when they do that either. They just do it. And so you the way you find that, or the way I find that, is I'll be at a mall or something, and somebody will come up and say, "Can I have your autograph?" I'm like, "Why?" "Oh, I seen you on TV last night." "Oh, really? What was it?" And then she'll tell me. I said, "Well, I've never done that." "But it was you." I said, "Yeah, I know. I mean, I know." And they'll tell me what I'm wearing and stuff. "Hey, Leah, how you doing, sweetie?"
Hello.
It's just weird, but you never know when you're doing stuff for them. So I've done a little stuff in Netflix. We got a little series going with them, and this started before COVID when they offered it to me. I was in LA filming for something else, and I went to an audition. Well, actually, I went to a party, and then I met some people at the party, and they offered me an audition. But they offered me the audition at 10:30, and my flight was leaving at 10:30. So I said, "Well," he said, "Well, can you come in at 6:30?" I'm like, "I guess." So I went and did the audition. I didn't even think I was going to get it because I was still hungover. And then I got a call a couple of days later discussing money. Didn't even discuss the content of what we were doing yet. So what this show's about is it's basically I'm just a narrator, and they take alien abduction cases and
Reenact.
Yeah, they reenact the case, and that's what they do. I've done the first season was 14. They were up for a year and a half. They took them down when we started filming the second season. We're filming the second season right now. And when it comes out,
they want to put it back up once they have the second season edited, so they can marathon it now, so you can watch the premiere next week.
That's what they'll do too. That's what they told me. They said so. Whenever this other 14 are done, and then they're going to go public. Then I think he said about a month before that they'll release those, and then you'll be able to watch those, and then you'll be able to watch these. And he said they'll stay up for about a year, and then they're going to take them back down. He said, now, if you don't get a season 3, they'll probably never take them down. They'll just leave them up. He said, but if you're going to get a season 3, then they'll take them back down. I hope I get a season 3 because it almost triples the pay. Don't get me wrong. They're paying me good per episode. I'm not crying, but it'll almost triple it. Yeah, it's a big difference. And I can't tell you. Sorry, it's classified.
Well, it's not.
If you're
really.
a member of our network, or you know me personally, you can find out. But it's in our contract. We're not supposed to talk about what we get paid.
Yeah, you're not. And in Hollywood, they call it scale, and depending on the studio that you're working with, scale could be $500 a day. It could be $10 an hour. It could be all day and a free lunch. If you're an extra actor, like a background actor, you get all day nothing for all day. You're there, no pay. But you get free food as long as you're there.
So, what's that, Krista? The very first time I ever did this, I made $360 per session, and it was like 3 or 4 days. And
the
then
more you do, the more that scale goes up,
and it keeps going up. And then the second one went up. went up to about 500, and then to 800, then 1,000, and since then I've done quite a few more. So it's a good bit difference. And it's not enough you can retire. I can tell you that. Yeah. But it's nice. It's a
If
lot.
you
It's
get
really nice extra
residuals-
money is what it
If you
is.
get residuals and it's a popular show, every time it airs, they have to pay you a dime or a penny or whatever, and at the end of every month, they have to pay you. So you get residuals. And one of my friends that I worked with at the car dealership, he got monthly checks from a movie he was in, and he's only in it for like 30 seconds as a background actor, but he got residuals in his contract somehow, and $1,000 check every month doesn't hurt.
No, it doesn't hurt. And that's what this is. This is just extra money for me. When we get them, we get them. No, they pay me every 7 is how they do it. It's not bad. It's a lot of fun. But anyway, y'all keep sidetracking me here. And Vet 7077, I have heard other people talk about some of the alphas carry swords. Not anybody else, just the alphas, but I've actually heard about it. And not just the males, the females too. I think it's more like an adornment than it is anything else. Not that I'm not saying they couldn't use them to kill
royalties
something.
still carry swords. They're usually ornamental. They don't weigh very much. If you were to hit somebody with it, would probably bend like a tinfoil hat.
No,
But
I would bet these are real, but still. I don't know. So anyway, we got to get back to what we're talking about because we're already into the second hour. So the real quick.
Well, we were 23 minutes late, so yeah.
Yeah, we were, and we're going to go over because we were late. But so we were talking about who really knows about the yaps or the UFOs, or I hate the word yap or the acronym yap. It's going to drive me crazy. But anyway, who really knows in our government? I mean, who? Do you think it's the president? Do you think Joe Biden knows if extraterrestrials are real? If you do, put your hand up.
No, he's still under
I'm not putting my hand up.
He's under the delusion that the Easter rabbit, Easter bunny, and Santa Claus still exist. Yeah, I don't think he knows.
So, do you think Barack Obama knew?
No, and I think Barack Obama is more. He's not a scientific type of guy. He's a book learning dude. That's good, but he's law and legislature. He doesn't do science. And he thinks he pokes fun at the subject. So I'm pretty sure he doesn't know. And they probably told him not to inquire.
Does the Clintons know? Even though they wanted to know.
I know he doesn't know. He may be a good liar, but he was too much of a booze hound to trust with that kind of a secret. So he wasn't.
Yeah, I mean, he had the Eisenhowers looking for him.
LBJ wasn't told. I guarantee you, LBJ wasn't told.
So what it looks like for the most part, and I can't swear by this, most of the presidents that have been told about the extraterrestrial situation were Republicans. I don't know why, so don't even ask. More importantly, we know Ronald Reagan knew. But why did Ronald Reagan know? Ronald Reagan was a B actor, and then he was governor of California. Did he have the kumbah to actually know about extraterrestrials? Well, we know he did.
This end of the country that his first term was 1980. So I think by 1981, he had been taken to Camp David, which is in Maryland, by helicopter. And they usually flew their helicopter routes over the neighborhood I lived in. So often we would know when the president was heading that way. And but anyway, he was taken there on several weekend excursions to be shown or read into the entire UFO question as to what at least the CIA was willing to tell him.
And then the first time he had a face-to-face meeting was aboard the USS Nimitz when the saucer landed on the craft, and it was so heavy it actually made the craft tip forward.
Yeah, it was aircraft carrier through no planes, and they were probably so far out in the Atlantic, no one. So
if I remember correctly, what went on was they did a 5 alert, which means everybody off the deck, everybody in the hangars or in their quarters or out of the hallways, and then all the CCTV was turned off.
Yeah.
So
unless
but there were some witnesses that said they managed to get some CC. So regardless, the story was it landed. Three aliens came out, and then out of nowhere came Ronald Reagan and some aides out of the craft. So they say he was actually here on the ship, and then he went in the craft. And there was a rumor that because we had a cargo plane land earlier in the day, but I was like, come on, there's no president flying on a cargo plane. But you never know. I mean, there's places in there for him to sit and stuff. Regardless, they said, Yeah. Regardless, they said he met them on board the Nimitz, on board that UFO. And then, best we could tell, they all left together because there was no flights going out and there was no more president on board the ship. So it sounds like they all went out together. Now, maybe, maybe we seen something come in and maybe we seen something leave, but that's probably all classified. We couldn't talk about it. How's that? So anyway, it's funny, but the reason I think Reagan knew is because George Bush, Daddy Bush, was the head of the CIA.
Yes.
And I think he knew. And I think he told Ronald Reagan. And Ronald Reagan flipped out because Ronald Reagan, first thing he did, he institutes Pine Gap, the Joint British Defense of Outer Space. Him and the Brits got together and decided they're going to build a place in Queensland, Australia, where they can defend outer space. Now, people, outer space means outer space. It don't mean the moon. It don't mean Mars. It means something from outside our solar system, basically, is what it's trying to say.
Look up, if you don't believe that the facility exists, look up on YouTube STS-48. Space shuttle flight STS-48. It's a really long video. It's like 31 hours and something long, but there's a certain time frame where you can see an energy beam leave planet Earth from about the area of New Zealand, Australia, and narrowly miss a white object that changes direction and speed dramatically.
So that's what's so funny about this. NASA said this was ice, and that was what was making it move, where the blast, the air blast coming out of the shuttle. So what you see is the shuttle cruising along. Whoa, that's scary. You see the shuttle cruising along. I thought that was that face from that Star Trek episode. Anyway, it's so. Anyway, you see this UFO cruising along. This shuttle cruising along, and then you see something coming alongside of it. So it couldn't have been from ice because it was behind the shuttle at first.
There are about 13 objects that are moving out there, and several of them move intelligently and follow the thing that darts off.
Yeah, but there was one that was a decent size, and judging from the distance, from what you could look what the distance was from the shuttle, it had to be pretty decent size. Even though it looked like a dot, I mean, in space, it was at least 100 miles from the target.
Trajectory brought it to inside Earth's atmosphere.
But whatever this was, and the astronauts never denied this was a UFO. None of the astronauts on board the ship did. NASA did, but the astronauts didn't. They were like, no, it was moving on intelligent control. Anyway, it's cruising along. And you see this bolt, and it's a pretty decent sized bolt.
Let me see if I can find it. You want to show it, Joe?
If you got it, yeah. So you see this decent sized bolt come flying up from the surface, and you see this thing kind of pause for a second and then change direction. And then as it gets further away, it changes direction again and picks up speed. Well, unfortunately, ice doesn't do that. And NASA they still stick with that story, and it's just a bogus story. So that tells you NASA really don't know what's going on. JPL and Milan wants to think they do, but they don't know what's going on. No one in the current government knows jack shit about anything, much less if aliens are real. No, that's why Congress is so interested.
Okay, it's a short, so it'll repeat, but let's see
what
it looks like.
But they are real.
They are, because we know, because you're one of them. We do have another alien on the network. Her name is Amelia. We've got a good This just tells you how life is. Amelia's going to be in a smartass, and she's going to send me these pictures she took, right? And anyway, in the picture, you can see her television, and the thing in the television, which is supposed to be her, is some sparkly alien looking. I was like, you really are an alien. Shit, I better be nicer to you. It's a great video. I got it somewhere on one of the computers. I'm going to have to find it and play it, just so she'll have to try to kill me. What's that, Christopher? Yes, it was interesting. I've heard a lot of rumors about UFOs being packed into in the backs of 18-wheelers. My problem is I think that the saucers are quite a bit bigger than that. So I'm not sure you could get them in the back of an 18-wheeler. Yeah, I'm just not feeling the love. No, really. I mean 18-wheel is big to us, but if you go top to bottom, what is it, 12 feet tall? No, I think the UFOs might be a little bit bigger, or at least these spacecraft might be a little bit bigger than that. I would think so. Whoops. I'm over
The
here.
footage I found is very choppy. It's not going to work, but
Let me see if I can find one. But I actually have it on the other computer, not on this one. This computer is just a private computer that I use for basically for doing this. That's all I really use it for. It's not really designed for anything else. It's just designed for doing radio and TV. Peter Pumpkin Eater. Well, that's an interesting nick. So no, I've heard many times about different. Not the Greys. The Greys don't seem to carry unless it's one of the 8-foot Greys, 7-foot Greys, one of the escorts for the Queen. None of the other Greys seem to carry anything on them. At least nothing you can say. Well, maybe they're like Doctor Who and they can keep stuff just right outside of the dimensional, right out of sight because it's out of phase with our dimension, which means they can keep a lot of stuff there and just pull it over when they need it.
okay, yeah, this will probably work. It's very slow.
Actually, Jay's talking about the STS-48. There's actually quite a few STS missions with UFO sighting today. Y'all remember when they
is the tether one?
Yeah, the tether one was interesting. It was very strange. It's not just the STS missions. It's Mercury, Gemini, and Apollo. More Mercury and Gemini though.
Okay, UFO caught by the shuttle mission.
The Mercury I think the Mercury astronaut's the one that started calling it Santa Claus.
It's up there. Okay, let me go back to that. So I have to make this bigger because it's so small. But watch this little dot right here. You'll see a flash off here. And it darts off that way. But on the bigger picture, these things here are moving, and there's some objects off here in the bigger picture. There's another wider angle, and there's like 4 or 5 things that follow that thing that just darted off in the same direction. So they're intelligently controlled. Whatever they are not ice particles. And that flash came off of the Earth, not off of the space shuttle.
Yeah, see, that's what they were trying to say. That flash was supposed to be.
The flash was one of the reaction control thrusters, or RCS quad, as they called it back then. You would see a blast of CO2 gases in front of that camera, which would block out everything for at least a couple seconds before it would dissipate.
Yeah, it's not. No, that's no, Jack. That's how it is. What is this? UFO hearing whistleblower says he witnessed harm by non-human entities. Ooh, we'll have to play this one day. Oh, wait a minute. It's only 50 seconds. Hold on. Why are these things so small? I'm not on a TV. Stop. Why don't you stop, thing? I don't care about the Prime Minister of the Republic of India. Okay. Okay, there we go.
We might come Friday, though.
Friday might be a different thing. Okay. Oh, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, Friday we'll be talking about who was the man, not the legend, not the myth, but the man, Jesus. Yes, it'll be on Friday night show. 2nd and 3rd hour. 1st hour will be regular news. Yes, bring your stuff. No, we're not talking about religion. We're talking about who was the person.
We're talking about the historical Jesus, not the mythological.
Yes. Jay's gonna write it up and put it up for y'all later. But it's on this Friday's. Well, we're done with politics for the most part until Trump gets in office. We're pretty much done with politics unless something crazy comes up. It's we're gonna be so. News on the Flip Side was always designed to be a real news show with real news opinions and real news, not bullshit news. But then it was always designed to be able to do other things like tackle. There's a lot of episodes we've done that tackle really big problems. Stephanie and I did quite a few of them, and they were big episodes with big listening groups. Well, we tackled a lot of different things. Nothing I can talk about on here because it's just not appropriate for the show, but they're all still available. Just type in News on the Flip Side with Stephanie Bonetti and Joe Montaldo on whatever topic you'd like to hear about, because we did most of them. Also, now these are harder to find. The Gray Zone with Michelle and I are fabulous shows, but most of them you can only get if you buy them. And right now, only one of them is up for sale, and only one of them is free on YouTube. All the rest are sitting in storage. Sorry, guys. No, it was never designed to be a free show unless you caught it live. Yeah, sorry. It just wasn't designed to be that. Anyway, getting back to what we were talking about, let me pull this up. So now we got a whistleblower here. I love these whistles. I got a little problem with whistleblowers though. Not coming forward with who they are.
Yeah, that's bothersome. But some whistleblowers are kind of sort of generally anonymous because it's Hollywood is also a whistleblower. So what happened there? We were kind of on the bottom instead of the side.
Oh, I don't know. We're back normal, right? Yeah. What?
No, we're clicked on the wrong one. Is it this one? No,
that's me.
This one.
That's me and you two on the side. Oh no, you're looking.
I don't know.
That's not that one. It's this one.
I don't know what happened. I didn't do it.
Okay, that's that one right there. That's okay. Now let's see. Now we're gonna add to screen. There it goes. Oh, now it's gonna work right. All right, so we're gonna play this real quick. This is a real fast clip. I don't think you can make it any bigger. Maybe a little tiny bit.
At one point, you had said that there has been harmful activity or aggressive activity. Has any of the activity been aggressive, been hostile in your reports?
I know of multiple colleagues of mine that got physically injured, and the activity. And I got
by UAPs or by people within the federal government.
Both.
Okay, so there has been activity by alien or non-human technology and or beings that has caused harm to humans.
I can't get into the specifics in an open environment, but at least the activity that I personally witnessed, and I have to be very careful here because they tell you never to acknowledge tradecraft, right?
Okay, see how his head's tilted?
Right
off the bat, tells he's a
and my
liar.
wife.
See how his lips is
very
tilted?
disturbing.
Another one.
At one point,
At least
you said
5
that
things on his face that shows he's lying.
Has been harmful activity or aggressive activity.
We've heard
has any
this
of the
one, so.
activity been aggressive,
Adios, amigos. We're outta here.
hostile?
Hit the back button. There you go.
What is this?
Before we move on out of that mysterious close encounter, this object you see here was caught on camera flying past the SpaceX rocket just minutes after liftoff last week.
What the hell was that?
Transportation correspondent Gio Benitez is tracking the story. Good morning, Gio.
Wow.
Hey, George, good morning. Yeah, the internet lighting up with questions over this video. Did the object come from the rocket or from some...
Find out of that mysterious close encounter. This object you see here was caught on camera flying past the SpaceX.
I don't know. It looks like an orb.
Yeah, it kind of does.
Could it be a satellite?
Rocket just minutes after liftoff last week.
No, it looks like it. I don't know. It's something else. You see how it was spinning? Yeah.
Or
maybe a
hey,
box.
George, good morning. Yeah, the internet lighting up with questions over this video.
Yeah,
Did the object come from the rocket or from somewhere else?
Sorry, guys. Sorry, we didn't mean to make y'all watch that stupid stuff. What's this one? Lots of short takes here. This is cool. I still ain't seen nothing. Another. Oh, and I see this is more stationary. That looks like garbage. Oh, and then you're not gonna let me see the rest of it? You know what?
Clickbait.
Get the bleep out of here, man. We don't care about that kind of stuff. What's that, Jimmy? We're just rolling through a couple of them.
No, that's when I saw that I was going to try to get up, but then it changed on me. That
I don't think you have to.
The WIF standing for Worksite Interface. It's going to assist Gerst in setting up this portable foot restraint onto the station's robotic garb.
Oh, there it is.
Okay, I'm going to put
the station's robotic garb.
Now that don't look like a satellite. I'm not sure what the hell that is.
Yeah.
Is that one of them? What was the things back in the day? Rods? Remember when those rods were all over the place?
Yeah, it's not a rod. Rod would have wings. Rods have wings.
The shroud. I'll see how that works. If that's all right with you.
Not sure what that was, guys, but that's a true UFO, unidentified flying object.
Well, it's more like floating object there because it's in space. Didn't appear to be ballistic at any time. Or there's another. That's the one I was looking at earlier, I think. Nope. That's a different one.
Let me get where I can hit.
Oh yeah, I
pause.
saw that one. Yeah.
Okay, there's
Watch the
lightning
left.
going on.
You'll see a flare come across. There it is. Or the center.
Yeah, see.
There. Coming out of the atmosphere of Earth.
Let's replay it. Edited footage. I knew there was something wrong about this. I don't know, guys. That's not the original one I've seen, but still, it's a little weird. What's that, Jackie Lee? I don't know. See, the problem is when stuff stays up for too long, it kind of goes away. That one actually said this was big as that. It actually said edited footage.
That's the one I put up earlier.
Yeah.
And there's that little dot, and there's a flash.
See, in the one we're looking for, you can actually see the thing coming up from the clouds. You can actually see it coming up.
You can see a beam. There's a much wider. That's a very tight in shot there, and it's grainy and slow.
This is done like this on purpose. They don't want you.
That's the AVI. I couldn't get that to work right. Yeah, it's a much wider angle.
Is it? Okay, there it is moving along.
Stops in the center of the screen there.
There it is moving along.
You can see the side of the shuttle, that white triangle in the top corner.
Yeah.
So that whatever that is very far away. There's the flash. Thing takes off.
Yeah. You seen it? There you went. Yeah, you seen it come up that time. Yeah. Now pay it watch, people. I'm gonna see if I can catch it for y'all. So stop before we go. Let me pull this. So in this area right here, you're gonna see this craft. When it's going to make a turn, and it makes a turn, and then just takes off. The
craft actually comes off the planet, so it's coming off of the planet. Well, I had it in reverse. It's coming off the planet, out of the atmosphere. Yeah. The white line that you see at that curve, that is the atmosphere of Earth.
Yeah, right here.
Yes.
So this thing, you're going to see it. I don't know what region this is because we can't tell.
A little further back where your mouse is.
And what?
About the center of the screen, you'll see it come out of the atmosphere.
Oh yeah, right up in here. Yeah.
Right about there. Yeah.
So we're going to try to catch it. So there it is coming up. It's just cruising along, doing its business.
Another one that props up right in front of it and then goes back down.
And here it goes. And then somebody somewhere decides that
just fires the weapon.
There it goes. And there it is. I didn't stop it in time. Let me see if I can just bounce it back a little bit. I don't know if it'll let me. There it is right there.
Yeah.
So you can actually see this thing penetrating our atmosphere. It's actually creating a hole.
And the craft that it was shooting at is still in the frame too. You can see how far away it got.
Yeah, it's way the hell over here, but
yeah,
this thing. I mean, y'all remember how big this dot was when it was right here, where this thing is going through the atmosphere is, and it was definitely a deliberate shot at this thing, whatever it was. I don't know. That's definitely not a flash from the shuttle. It's we'll boom, and there it is. It's gone. And that tells you how fast this thing is moving, because you see it come right here and you see it come out, and then it's just gone.
It emerges from the atmosphere and it's heading towards the left of the screen.
So there goes our guy. He's just cruising along, minding his own business. There's our little flash.
Boom.
Now, if this was ice, all the rest of this stuff would have moved with it. And being as far away as it is, I don't see it. And there's the damn thing again. You can actually see it right here.
You can see through it. It's not a missile.
Yeah, it's definitely not a missile. I'm figuring it's some kind of laser pulse blast or something.
Way too fast. It's a pulsed energy weapon of some kind.
And I couldn't. Look, it went so fast I couldn't even catch it with my mouse. And I did a direct click, and there it is again. And again, you can see it penetrating the atmosphere on both sides. You can see this part down here, and then you can see it coming up through the atmosphere right there.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, it's gone. It means it's traveling at least light speed.
FTL, faster than light speed.
Yes, it's whatever it is, it's hauling ass.
Well, and but again, that is also that little short we were showing. That's also one of the zoomed in portions. The true wide angle. There's like 13 or 14 other objects floating around with that object, and like I said, 5 or 6 of them follow it. So it wasn't just one, but many in that wider shot.
Okay, that's not what I was looking for. I was looking for something else.
And they may still be on YouTube. They're probably like 20 pages back because they've been on there for so long. Abrupt turn. Oh, yeah. Okay, this looks like the normal.
How far is it though? It says 5 minutes on here, so
it's past that blur. Go past that blur at 4 something where you were.
Mikey, hold on. The flashes you see is lightning.
Yes.
Up in here, that's lightning is what that is.
We can't see them because we're on the shadow side of the planet, but there's clouds down there. See, there's another one.
The hell was that? That must have been a meteorite or something going by.
All right,
and there are meteors streaking all over the place.
Far left center, something entered. That bright light, that's not that moved in. That's not that's a moving object. And the 2 dots at the bottom of the screen in the bottom right corner are also stationary but moving objects.
Now this one's not. This one's moving right here.
Yes, that one's moving.
I think that's our friend, actually. Oh, he just came out of the atmosphere right there.
Yeah, there he is. There he is.
It's funny, when this one came up, this one stopped for a minute.
Yeah. And
this one came out
further away now that we're not in the zoomed in. There's the flash.
There he goes.
That boom. And keep watching straight above it. There should be some things that follow. It's you can't see it.
Oh, is that the lightning or is that the craft going way out here? Whoa, let's go back.
That's the craft. That's the craft going way out there.
Okay,
the
let's
lightning
go
goes,
back.
The bolt goes straight up.
See, there it is. So I didn't go back far enough.
Yeah, see, there's another dot down there. It's starting to head in that direction.
So that's it. 141.
Yeah.
143. 147. It changes. Now you see, you could actually see it go up into space there. This thing is still hauling ass. Look at it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's over here now. That's it right there.
Gone. No, it's gone. It took off.
It's
But then you see all those other things that had stopped are now converging in on that area.
So we're going to see it again here in a couple seconds. Now we know where it's at.
Flash.
So there it is, as you can see it. It's moving fast enough to cause a streak.
Yes, that's called motion blur in the biz.
Okay, and there it goes, and now we're going to just kind of play along with it. And there it is as it's
right on the atmosphere line,
it's right on the edge.
Yeah.
There it goes. So y'all can see it. Now this is it right here.
That's when it accelerates actually at that point.
This is where it's at. Now this thing starts hauling ass, but watch. Now watch, something's going to be coming up behind it here in a second. Whoa, there it is.
Here goes the beam.
And this thing's pretty big because, I mean, you can see it comes all the way down here for sure that we can see.
It's huge. It's
so
huge.
Whatever this is, now remember, this beam is traveling at least light speed, and this thing is not even worrying about it.
Yeah, they're gone.
I mean, it's not even close anymore. Let's now real quick. There it is. I double fasted. Now you see him. Look at him. He's like stretching out. He's getting ready to haul freaking ass.
He already is hauling ass.
Yeah, he is actually already hauling ass.
Speed limit of.
And this thing now you can see even more of it, but here it is still. It's still breaking down. I don't know what this little Humpty Dumpty thing is here, but it's now stretching out from way up here to way down here, and it's not even close to this thing.
It may be some sort of pulsed plasma energy beam or something. Whatever it is, it's not a laser. Laser would be continual.
No, I'm thinking it's like a plasma blast or something.
Yeah,
It's not
that's what I just said.
well, a laser don't have to be continuous. I mean, you can do pulse lasers. They would actually have those. We got them on board those new jets now.
Yeah,
The
they
ones that
use
fly
them for
figure eights.
they use them in for skin disorders and things.
Yeah, but so and you can still see this thing. It's still there. I haven't let it get out of our reach yet. And here it goes again. Woo! It's like bye baby. I'm out of here. It's like it kicked in the afterburners. It's almost like it waited to see this thing come through before it hauled ass.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going. There it goes. There it goes. There it goes. We can follow it for a little while. There it goes. And it's gone. Can't follow it anymore. It's gone. So you take it for what it is, people. It's a cool video. It's exactly what it is. I'm gonna download it so we got it on file. Since it was the pain in the ass to find, but this is the one we were looking for because
yes, it was.
because we're gonna do it one more time. No, it's Frank. We're gonna do it one more time, and then we got to move on. But it was right here, 44. So there it is, and there he goes. So NASA's trying to say this blast over here is what sent this thing rolling.
Yeah,
but I don't think so. I think this thing detected a launch because now look. So I'm gonna leave this mouse. Oh, I can't leave it. But anyway, distance to here.
Oh, you don't have a touch screen?
Okay, that's where it was. Boom! I mean, look at it. Literally, it came right through the same spot.
Yeah.
You can't even
They
ask for
would
better
have
than that.
collided had the dot not changed its direction.
So that's why I wanted to leave the mouse there.
It changed abruptly.
So there's the mouse. You'll see it leave. And look. I mean, it was going to take it out. It was trying to take it out.
Human pilot and any human craft into jelly.
Whoops, let's go back up here. Back up here. So we're going to just do it like that. Okay. It's going to turn right here. It's going to turn back. There it goes. Whoops. Boom. And it goes right through the point. I mean, you can't even get any better than that. Guys, there's no doubt that thing was shooting at something. Somebody somewhere was shooting at something. Now, if I have to go with either this is somewhere, Australia or New Zealand. This is probably Pine Gap. If it's not Pine Gap, it's the HARP facility in Alaska because Star Wars is in space, so it would have looked different if we'd have fired it.
Bottom of the Earth. It's Australia. I promise you.
Yeah. So we do have Star Wars STS, even they swear we don't, but we do because we've seen
Discovery Houston for JO.
Hello.
Did you just see them shoot that alien ship? What?
I think. Go ahead. Yeah, I seen that.
Morning, JO. We predict the maneuver to the supply water dump attitude will take about 15 minutes, and in order to start the dump on time, we'd like for you to do that maneuver now.
What the hell is this?
Prevent
Constellation Urine.
What is this?
Constellation Urine.
No, what is this thing?
I understand you want us to start the supply water dump now, or at least.
What the hell what is this thing?
There's another one.
All right. What is this? So what is this? This is just.
There's all kinds of shit floating around up there. Pardon my
But
French.
this looks like some kind of craft.
Start the supply water dump now, or at least initiate the maneuver now.
We'd like for you to initiate the maneuver, and then when you get there, initiate the water dump.
You know what? Some of them might actually be. I didn't think about this.
And by the way, people, it's not water dump. They're dumping urine.
Yeah.
You don't dump perfectly good drinking water into outer space when you're disconnected from all the water on the planet. Oh, look. Alien spacecraft right on. Oh, what is that?
That's the arm, huh?
It's the cargo bay, yeah.
So they were shooting out of the cargo bay.
So you can see that camera was pointing way away from the ship. It wasn't pointing. What you were looking at was like the boom arm that was holding the camera. I guess that white corner was.
Yeah, because I think it was too far to be away from any of the.
Yeah, I mean their explanation is it's the same as the Air Force's second answer or final answer to Roswell with the crash test dummies that happened 9 or 10 years later. Give me a break.
So even though we don't do these anymore, guys, it is interesting to see the shuttle. Even though it's a retired hunk of junk now.
Oh yeah.
So y'all got to look at the STS-48 mission the way it's supposed to look. So I was glad that we got to do that. What is that, Darren? It's a cool. That was 1991, by the way. It's not like exactly around the corner. Oh, is this the
That's the tether, STS-75.
Wait, just 17 minutes. We ain't gonna be able to watch all this. We have to skip along here. Oh, that looks fake. Don't make these flat earthers right now, people.
Yeah. That's where we live. That's the Pacific Ocean you're looking at.
What the hell?
Okay, it's in the bogan arm now, and I'm trying to track with the arm sort of semi-rigid.
Pretty good job, Jeff.
And this is at full zoom.
Yes, we can see the suggestion of the tether on the right side, unless that's just a reflection on the window panes.
Yeah, I could definitely see the tether in the viewfinder. Unfortunately, it was at a low angle through the window, and so
That looks like a saucer to me. Oh, it looks really like a saucer now. What the hell?
Yeah, but it's not. It's a test that they had that failed miserably, and the tether that it was tied to, you can see at some point it stretches out like for miles.
Roger.
Actually, Jimmy, I think it broke loose or something.
Yeah, it was like some pod they had at the end of a long thing of rope, and the rope snapped.
Okay, here's the last little bit I got.
It was making it's supposed to be some kind of static along the strip itself that made energy.
Dirty, and it was hard to get access, but I might as well downlink it. It was about 2.5 minutes.
Yeah, they may have been trying to use some kind of Tesla coil technology on the end of a tether to try to power the ship.
I know it was all about energy, and they said that part worked. Yeah, there it is. They said that part works. See how it's all energizing up?
Yep.
But I've never tried it again. What is all this shit around it? Water droplets?
That is dust particles of some kind. They were able to duplicate this exact scene in the lab on that UFO Hunter show with Bill Burns. Yeah, so when you zoom in, those dust particles, they look like the Dropa discs.
In the image?
Franklin, we see a long line, a couple of star-like things, and a lot of things swimming in the foreground. Can you describe what you're seeing?
Yeah, they're seeing them. They're seeing them. They're not dust particles if they can see them by eye.
Yeah.
I wonder what the hell is. That is.
Well, the camera's picking them up. It's not their eye that's seeing.
No, he just said that you didn't hear the guy. He just said I can see him.
Oh. Well, yeah, then they're not dust particles.
And is getting washed out quickly, but Claude is trying to do a quick, good job here adjusting the cameras.
Oh, this one's interesting.
The TV show UFO Hunters was exactly able to duplicate those flashing ones. It was uncanny how they did it.
Yeah, that one just looks a little weird.
It looks like a Dropa stone, doesn't it? It's got the notch in the front. It's got a hole in the center. Looks like a record.
And people, this little line you see right here is quite big.
Yeah, it's way away from. It was attached to the ship,
which makes you wonder.
They probably cut it loose because it was going to catch them on fire. Maybe.
I don't know, but it's big, people. It's like a quarter mile long or something. So these things can't be little.
Yeah.
I don't know what to tell you. That's weird.
I was using both the 20 power binoculars and the 400 millimeter Nikon lens under the body bag, and it only just disappeared in the glare of the sun about 30 seconds ago. The tether looked completely straight. I did not see any bright spots along the tether except at the very bottom where there was a bright spot which was unresolvable for me. I did not see anything above the satellite.
Thank you. We copy.
See if we get a different angle here. All that stuff Corinne is wrapping to keep everything from freezing. It's insulation is basically what it is. Oh, look, it's Earth. How pretty.
I'm trying to find the episode where they debunked that, or tried to debunk that footage, the tether footage.
Was coming in and out. It was getting pretty weak, so they're gleefully rubbing our hands together and
Okay, I don't know what the heck that was about.
The hell is that? A mammogram?
I don't know what it is. It's
Sonogram?
looks like it's clearing out and letting you see the stars in the back.
Are they looking out of the window? I mean, it's. Wow, looks like the film is melting, like on an old.
I know it does, and I feel like I should be doing some acid or something.
Yeah. Where the hell is this footage from? What is it?
This is SES 75 Flight Day 9.
Go ahead.
Weird.
Found the lens. Sorry for the delay.
And we'd like you to adjust the aperture dimmer.
That's a flash bulb.
That's Hal, man.
Yeah. Where are Frank and Dave? Open the door, Hal.
Maybe that's the problem. Hal's already opened the door. I guess we don't see.
Columbia for a voice check.
Columbia.
Yeah, we prefer cash.
No, that was it, guys. I'm not sure what any of that BS was. It was one of my favorite ladies down here now. We can't be listening to her in this show, but I like this chickie.
Oh.
She's one of my favorite Aussies. Jimmy, no, we still got time because we started late tonight. Astronauts capture out-of-the-world objects, space junk, or UFOs. The proof is out.
Now, if you want the proof of junk, it's out there too. Absolutely.
17, the International. Imagine being. March of 2017, the International Space Station, 250 miles above the Earth's surface. Two astronauts are on a routine spacewalk to perform maintenance. NASA flight engineer Peggy Whitson films their mission and, in the process, captures something out of this world. A strange object seems to be following. Look closer. It appears to be spinning slowly as if to get a better view. So maybe it's one of the 130 million pieces of space junk circling the Earth. The ISS sometimes has to maneuver out of the way to avoid being hit by that stuff.
If it was space junk, we'd kind of expect it to be moving across the surface of the Earth in a different direction. But because they're moving at the same speed through space, it kind of looks like it's something that's paralleling the motion of the International Space Station.
March of 2007. Imagine being warned 20 years earlier that a single piece of foam could bring down an entire space shuttle, and then watching it happen. On February 1st, 2003, the Space Shuttle Columbia disintegrated upon re-entry, killing all 7 astronauts on board. But here's the kicker. NASA knew foam strikes were dangerous. Back in 1981, during Columbia's very first mission, engineers flagged a foam strike issue, warning it could one day lead to disaster. Fast forward 2 decades. During its final launch, March of 2017, the International Space Station. Imagine March of 2017.
Shut up. Damn. Sucker wouldn't shut up. Wait, we're gonna that's another 75. We already seen that one.
Yeah.
All right, well no, these are these are all UFOs from the shuttle or from the space station. Yeah. Space Shuttle High Shuttle Discovery STS-48 UFO pointed out with arrows. Oh, yeah, let's see.
Okay, let's look at that one.
All right, let's click on this one. Let's click on that.
It looks like it's sped up a little. It is. Look
It's
at all
definitely
the
better.
movement.
The hell is that?
Wow. Look at how fast it is in fast motion.
You can't even see the thing coming up.
They got it on. They've got it going too fast. Yeah, see, that's the one that follows.
I don't know what that is. This
Something
whole
landing on the planet, it looks like.
this thing. I mean, this. I don't know what the hell that is. But guys,
it's New Zealand floating by on the Earth. What you see. That's what that big thing was. That was New Zealand.
NASA debunks UFO seen in new video. We don't want to know. We already looked at that. We already looked at that. We already looked at that. Mysterious lights in the space. NASA. Yes. We already seen that. No, one night we'll come in and we'll just type up NASA videos and do it that way. NASA UFO videos and do it that way. What's that, Carol? No. It's interesting to see. It is interesting, but so we're not even going to get into abductions 202 in advance tonight. We only got about 25 more minutes. Well, no, we started late tonight, so we're going to be running over. But those videos are all good videos. It's all good stuff to see. It's a little spooky to think that in 1991 we were shooting at aliens. Just think of this: if we've got somewhere on this planet that has that kind of technology, okay, so what is that? 25, 34 years ago. I can only imagine the enhancements by today.
Yeah.
And does the Russians and the Chinese know we possess
beams by now, like the true phasers on Star Trek? The longer the contact, the more it hurts.
that beam looks like if it hit a city, it would turn into dust. It looked big enough to be seen in space. That's I don't know. I don't think I'd be playing with that.
We're not far away from one of these.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think we're that far away either.
I don't think we're that far at all.
So, getting back to the apps thing for a few minutes.
By the way, we already got these.
Yeah, we do. And actually better than those. Ours have built-in computers and shit.
Yeah.
It's
the power of most cell phones is more than they had for all of the NASA projects. Gemini, Apollo. What was the other one?
Mercury.
Those
Mercury,
three
Gemini,
programs
Apollo.
used about 16 gigabytes each.
Pete, if I remember right, Mercury was the single astronaut ship. That's the first one that was flying over Australia when it was swarmed by what looked to be fireflies. Yes, that was a big report. And then there was a couple other reports where the astronauts said things would fly up alongside them. That was Mercury. Gemini, if I remember correctly, was the two-person craft.
Yeah, but I think it was also connecting to another craft.
Yeah, I think it was.
Test for connecting the command device to pull the LEM out of the module.
Well, Christy, we don't know 100% that we shot it, but being from the location, being from, since it was over Australia where Pine Gap is, it's a good chance that we're the ones that took a shot at it. Can't prove it. Could have been an ET. I don't think an ET would have missed though.
Yeah.
Or I think they would have got a lot closer. Let's put it that way. And I think if it was ET, the craft might have fired back. And being us, there's no reason to fire back at us because they're too fast to get hit by us. When you listen to the pilots talk about these, it's like they said there is no missile we have. He said the thing could be sitting next to me when I launched it. By the time it locked onto it, they would be gone, completely gone. You wouldn't even see them anymore.
They've also reported when they achieve true missile lock-on, and even before they're about to fire, just to get the lock-on, they've reported instrument failures, and sometimes not just the devices that lock on to the missiles to lock on, but the gimbal, the ball, earth ball. They have to fly without instruments at that point.
It's
every
what's
gauge
it?
goes off in their jet, so that's a scary thing. If they
No,
were
I
to do that
mean,
to an F-117, it would crash. They turned up
yeah.
all the machines in it, it would crash. It would become a rock. Bam.
Well, that's what the shuttle was. I mean, the astronauts would tell you it was like flying a brick.
I was like, yeah, like flying a brick. Yep.
It flying a brick at Mach 27 to Mach 32. That brick, yeah. It's like Jolly Giant threw a brick and you had to try to fly it. it's too much. Well, no, I mean, I've interviewed several astronauts that have flown the NASA's. I've talked to I've interviewed Mercury, Gemini, Apollo, excuse me, and the shuttle astronauts. I have not interviewed anybody from SpaceX yet, but they're not real astronauts yet. They're just screwing around.
Yeah, they're just rich boys with a big rocket, full 1-to-1 scale rocket, not the stuff that we used as kids. They were like, a 10-inch thing. You put some powdered. How are those rockets powered? But anyway, yeah, they're
They
doing.
must be testing rocket engines at NASA. I keep hearing this rumbling sound like sounds like a rocket engine being tested. I only live about 9 miles from the NASA Stennis facility where they tested all the Apollo engines. They took over 5 cities because the engines made so much noise. They were blowing out people's windows for miles away. Matter of fact, it's 60 miles from New Orleans, and they could feel their windows rumble in New Orleans.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that was from the Apollo when they were testing the Apollo engines. That's how powerful they were.
Wow.
Yeah, where I'm living right now, every now and then you can hear them. I've never felt them like this, so they must be testing that Artemis engine right now or something new.
Well, allegedly they've been testing all kinds of engines. What's it in the 80s, right around like the Star Wars movies coming out? They were testing ion powered engines, or just after the 80s. What was the next one they went after? Oh, before that was the Solar Sailor. That you throw up these, I guess, metal fabric solar collecting sails, and it powers your ship. They've had all kinds of schemes. None of them ever panned out, except for the solid rocket boosters, which what's his name devised. And once he died, so did our space program.
Yeah, pretty much.
Our space program died. Let's be honest.
Well, I mean, so y'all know this. Werner von Braun, ladies and gentlemen, wasn't planning on going to the moon. He was planning on going to Mars.
His plan was to go to Mars.
So NASA and Uncle Sam said, no, we need to go to the moon first. And he's like, why? There's nothing on the moon. It's almost like he knew somebody had already been there the way he talked about it. It was kind of funny.
The Russians or the Nazis had sent up a crew, and they never came back.
So he said there's basically nothing on the moon to worry about. There's helium-3. So right now we know for sure there's helium-3 and water on the moon. That's all we know for sure.
Yeah, well, another thing, why would Kennedy make the challenge, get a man to the moon and bring him back to the Earth safely in this decade? Did he know that the Germans sent some people up and that allegedly that didn't come back?
I don't know, but he also said beyond. So it wasn't just the moon. He said the moon and beyond. So
yeah,
we haven't gone beyond yet. People haven't gone beyond yet. Our spacecraft have gone beyond.
We sent out junk.
What's that? No, we got 2 outside the solar system now, Viking 1 and 2.
They're past the Oort cloud.
Oh no, Voyager 1 and 2. I'm sorry, I said Viking, didn't I? Viking went to Mars.
Viking went to Venus.
What? No, Viking went to Mars.
Oh,
I don't know. I think it went to Mars. I think because Viking, one of them was the one.
Voyager 1 and 2. That's what's out beyond.
Yeah, Voyager 1 and 2 went outside the solar system, and I think the 2 Vikings went to Mars because one of them they said found oxygen and something else, and they tried to say, "Oh, it brought it there," but then now we know it didn't because we found oxygen again since then. Yeah, no, we found oxygen on Mars in several places now. No, not enough for us to go live on and breathe. And even if it had oxygen, the pressure is too right now. Is it would crush us. It's too low. Yeah, we'd have to live in vac suits until they get it up, which they can do just by terraforming the planet, by superheating the planet up. As they thicken the atmosphere, you'll be surprised it'll raise the pressure. Or lower the pressure. No, raise the pressure. It'll raise it up some.
As it is now, we would implode.
Yeah, we can't. It would be like if we were trying to live in the bottom of the ocean. Yeah, it's just
or
it's
in
just
space.
not.
It's a little bit slower than in space. Space would be almost instantaneous. Your body would instantly freeze within like a minute. I think you have like 30 seconds to be exposed to out of the vacuum of space, and then everything in you freezes, and you're done.
Now Mars, you might not freeze on Mars. There are places
You
on
won't
Mars
freeze on Mars, but you will implode. Your
you'll definitely implode. Yeah, there's no doubt about that. You're going to implode. Well, the idea is there's three ideas. At first, they were talking about using nuclear weapons, but then that would contaminate all the ice water on the planet. We don't want to do that because we might need that to drink. So then they decided that they'd put these giant machines there, and all they did was scoop up dirt and dump it into this thing and just burnt the dirt. That's all it did, and created carbon. And the carbon just thickened the atmosphere and thickened the atmosphere and thickened the atmosphere. So it raised the pressure.
Well, it would only create carbon if the dirt was made out of carbon. If the dirt's made out of some other
element. No, I think by then they already knew that they could use this.
Okay.
Because Elon has actually talked about doing it too. And because melting the polar caps is the fast way. But if you do it with nukes,
which is the way they did it in Total Recall. They melted a core of ice in the middle of the planet.
Yeah, and released oxygen in the ice. Well, initially they said that Mars had a crystal core and it was dead. Now it's not looking like that anymore. It may not be as active as our core is, but it doesn't seem to be completely dead. And
it's in a period of extreme cooling, which our planet our core goes through heating and cooling cycles too. Right now, it's extremely hot. That's why we have global warming. It's nothing to do with us farting.
And the bitch is spinning backwards for some reason. So don't ask me. No, it's
slowed
down.
It's the opposite way that the land is. Exactly correct.
Yeah, it was spinning in sync, and then it slowed down and stopped, and then started spinning backwards. And everybody said, "Oh, it's the end of the world." Well, obviously it's not.
The core is going the other way. We're just waiting for the planet to start going the other way.
Yeah, I know. And it may one of these days we may start slowing down, and half of y'all might float off, and then we'll start going the other way.
Yeah,
well, if the planet slows down, guys, we're in deep shit.
Yeah.
Even if you're indoors, if your house isn't anchored properly, we're in deep shit. I would go find a cave somewhere is what I do, people. Me? No, I live in a house on stilts. It ain't getting me. No, I got big, massive steel boats racking my house to the ground.
What's to prevent the gravity from pulling your stilts out of the ground?
Well, it would take a lot more than normal because they're concrete footed. And on top of that, there's a concrete slab over it. So you've got concrete footings with pilings going down about 10 or 12 feet, hooked to a footing, and then a whole slab on top of that to keep the footings from coming up.
Yeah, we got a basement here. I think we're pretty good.
And the way to the house. Yeah, well, you're probably good in the basement. The house might go, but the basement will probably stay. It all depends how your house is attached to the ground. If your house is just shot down with those, well, most houses are shot. So you have a double stack over the concrete, and they use these guns, and they shoot nails into the ground. Pop, 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 pop.
Yep, 25 caliber blank.
So nowadays, some homes, they actually put lag bolts in to try to make it stronger. Because if you live in hurricane zones, they now want you to lag bolt your house. Not just that, they want you to put corner straps and hurricane straps all around the roof to the house so it don't get pulled off in a storm. So the homes down here probably would have a harder time being yanked out the ground. But homes up north, a lot of them are just basically sitting on their slabs. Yeah, they're with a few nails holding them in place. Yeah, adios and amigos, y'all be in space. Buildings, most office buildings would probably not. Some would, but most of them would.
The top parts would probably break off.
Yeah.
The lower you are, the better.
But I'm with Jay. I say get a tunnel or get in the basement. Never hurts to, be on the safe side. Yeah, well, guys, I mean, I don't.
With it,
Is that going to happen in our lifetime? I have no idea. Probably not. But things in the cosmic scheme seem to take a lot longer. But no. So anyway, y'all keep sidetracking me off the YAP thing. So we were talking about this, and we made it all the way to Ronald Reagan and to George Bush. So we know Obama didn't know. We know Clinton didn't know. We know baby Bush kind of maybe knew a little bit,
but not as much as Daddy Bush.
It looked like Daddy told him that they were looking for something in the Middle East. Go back and look for it. But I don't think he knew any more than that. Obama definitely didn't know, and they don't tell first-term presidents, which Trump has only been a first-term president.
Mm-hmm.
So he wouldn't know. Now he might find out in his second term, depending on if there's a need. I think they only tell presidents when there's a need. So remember, when you get back to Ronald Reagan did Pine Gap, the Joint British Defense of Outer Space. He did Star Wars, which was supposed to be for shooting down Russell missiles. But when we seen the lasers, they're too big for that. I mean, they were shooting UFOs into space. Well, I should say flying saucers into space with these things. They were taking discs that were like almost a quarter mile across and setting them on top of the laser and using laser to, then they put ribs in the dish, and they were using laser to superheat it and shoot it into space. They were trying to make like a laser elevator so they could bring cargo into space without rockets. Don't ask me. I seen the project twice, never saw it again. But those lasers were far too big. They were more made for leveling cities than taking out. Well, they would be good for like if you had a MIRV coming in. Now, a MIRV is a multi-warheaded missile. No, Russians have MIRVs too. That just means multi-warhead is all it means. A MIRV is a missile that has more than one war, anywhere from 3.
Yeah, the nose cone breaks apart and several more, smaller bombs break out and go into different destinations or the same destination and explode.
Yeah. Usually what you see is the big bomb goes to the destination, like say the Russians that one would head to DC. The little ones would go like to Baltimore and Virginia and cities around
suburbs and other areas.
Basically, though, anything from DC and say 50 miles around would have been taken. So there'd have been nukes all over the place, and they can hold up to. I think the Russians' best one is 20 or 25.
Yeah.
I think the Americans' best is. One time we had a 23, but I think we scrapped it and went back.
Yeah, I think we're like 12 or 18, something like that.
It's not a huge, and obviously,
but they're bigger. If they're 12, it's bigger than 23 smaller ones.
Yeah, it's they are. The fewer you carry, the larger the payload. Well, the United States may not use they may not use regular nukes. They may use neutron bombs. The U.S. has had this thing about why wipe out China and Russia's infrastructure when we can just kill everybody and take everything.
Yeah, you only wipe out infrastructure in a traditional war when you have supply lines and stuff.
Yeah, so a neutron bomb, say if they dropped one on Beijing, it would kill everybody in Beijing.
Yeah,
but not with a blast. It's far worse than a dirty bomb. A dirty bomb's kind of unlimited. These things can go anywhere from 2 to 20 miles, and it's just a radiation and EMP burst. That's all it is. It's nothing else. There's no nuclear blast, and poof. And the best part is, if the electronics were off and everything was off, it'll all work. It'll all come back on so the radiation usually has a half-life of about 2 years, 2 to 4 years. So that city's contaminated for 2 years, and they'll probably wait 3 years, and they'll just come back in and dig all the dead plants out and put all new plants in. There's no more radiation. There's no contamination. The cars, the ground, nothing's.
A bunch of dead bodies and skeletons you got to clean up.
Yeah. Well, no, because they'll be there because it's not a nuclear blast. If a nuclear blast hit Beijing, half the population would be incinerated in a matter of 30
most
seconds.
Most buildings would be leveled.
So, you've seen that? Well, the reason why is because airburst nukes don't hit straight down. They go like this.
It's a circle.
So what happens is sometimes a building in the center will survive. Usually all the windows and all are blown out, but it'll still survive. It'll still be standing. Yeah, we've seen it on many occasions.
Everything on the perimeters will be knocked over or incinerated.
Well, there's one in Hiroshima. You'll see. I think it was a hospital or a nurse or a museum or something, but it was left standing. Yeah. Well, it's different. Hiroshima was different. I mean, there's a lot of people died, 250,000, but a lot of people survived. But that's because the amount of radiation is not the same. So think about it. People moving back in Hiroshima. This was 80 years ago.
Yeah, and they kept changing the tallies as people were affected by the radiation at the bomb sites and died 80 years later. So the bomb tally actually went up. The actual deaths were like 50,000, 20,000, something like that. Not a lot, but it's become more over years as people have died from the effects of the explosion.
Well, Nagasaki. Yeah, Nagasaki, they actually missed their target and hit in the valley next to the city. Well, it still killed a bunch of people, but not
Mhm.
not what it would have killed if it would have landed in the city. Yeah, Hiroshima though was a direct hit. Just Fat Boy just leveled Hiroshima. But that wasn't enough to make the Japanese quit. We had to drop one in Nagasaki before they would surrender.
No, they didn't even surrender then. They said after the second bomb, we're not going to give up. We'll fight to the last man, woman breathing on Japanese soil is dead. It was when the Russians took over Manchukuo that they had occupied from China. They executed the emperor's cousin or nephew, who was in charge of that as the governor, and then they were amassing their troops on the beachheads, and were just about to launch over to Japan and invade. That's when they gave up. They were more afraid of being a communist takeover state than being blown up with nuclear weapons, even though they didn't know we were bluffing and had no more left.
Yeah, but it wouldn't have took us that long to build another one.
Yeah, a couple more months, 6-7 months.
Well, no, it is true. Japan conquered China without really having to fight too much. They cut all the supply lines, starved them out. There was pictures of the Chinese looking like skeletons, handing them their guns for rice.
Yeah.
And then after they ate the rice, the Japanese shot them in the head.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm serious. I think I'm kidding you. Not all of them, but most of them. Well, if Japan wouldn't have riled with the U.S. and
If they attacked Pearl Harbor, they would probably be in charge of
China.
the Western Hemisphere. Yeah.
They'd own China. They'd probably own China and North Korea and South Korea by now, and Vietnam. And they'd be on, because Japanese are intelligent people, and they would be going. There'd be no more China. But the best part was it wouldn't be a communist country, so that would be a plus. Technically, Russia was beaten. The only thing that saved Russia was wintertime, and if Germany wouldn't have been fighting with the United States, they would have still took Russia. Oh yeah, Russia was outmatched all the way around. They didn't even slow down till they got to Moscow when the winter hit. They had left Berlin and was already to Moscow before the winter made them slow down. And they could have replied their fuel and their troops, but they were dealing with us and the Brits, and we were more of a partner of a target because we were fixing to take all of Europe back. France and Italy and whatever else they had taken, and stuff in Africa and stuff like that. So we were the bigger threat at the time. But that just shows you, these little countries, Japan, all Japan had to do was leave us alone.
Yeah.
We wouldn't even got into the war until much later, which would have gave Germany the chance to take the Brits.
Well, maybe not, because Mussolini still had problems with a lesser developed country, Ethiopia. King Haile Selassie's troops were just beating the living crap out of Italy's troops, and Mussolini had to call Hitler for help. So Hitler took his number one air marshal, Rommel, and sent him to Africa to run tanks. And he used air tactics with tanks, and it worked. They took over northern Africa and Algeria and all that. That's where then they got the oil fields. That's what got them so far.
Oh yeah, they didn't have any problems till the U.S. showed up down there.
Yeah,
the U.S. was technically the U.S. was outmatched
almost immediately.
And that the sad part, guys, is the Americans were actually outmatched. The Panzer was just a better tank than what we were using, but they were taking such a beating and we had so many more tanks. We were producing them at such a bigger rate. What do you mean? Is that what we have to worry about with China? Well, yeah, we if we get into a war with them, but China don't want to fight with us. If they kill us, no, they don't have anybody to get money from, because the Europeans are going to attack them, and they're going to just kill each other off. So I mean, it's just today warfare is a different thing when you look at it. Any big war today means devastation for everybody. You can't nuke China or Russia without the trade winds dropping the radiation on our country. If you nuke us, the trade winds are going to drop it on your country. Don't remember all the red dust from China flashing all over our country for years? Yeah, that was from China. All that dust came from China, carried across the ocean and dropped across the entire country. Well, just think if that was radiation. Same difference. So we're not in a position. These three countries are not in a position to really take each other out. It would be different, like if China was below the equator or on the other side of Europe, or if on the bottom side of Asia, then a war wouldn't be the same.
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean? India? I don't think the aliens are going to stop it.
Yeah.
I don't think they haven't stopped any wars on the planet so far. So they've been here as long as we've been here.
Unless our war interferes with some of their activities or threatens some of their assets here on the planet or in space, they probably won't intervene.
I don't even think then. I think they'll just come remove their contactees and say, blow yourselves up. It's why? Because think of it from their point of view. They've been here a long time. At any point, they could have took this planet from us, but they didn't. So that tells you that they want us to evolve, but they're not going to give up a good planet because we killed ourselves off. This, looking from their point, this is just another planet for the Empire, or from their, I don't want to call it the Empire, but
the Federation.
Yeah. So basically, that's just another planet for them. They'll come in, the council will come in and send. Yeah, they'll send a bunch of races here to clean up the radiation, and then they'll do like they do on all the unknown planets or all the whatchamacallit planets. They are multiple raced. So where humans go today are on planets where there's multiple races, and they're probably equally spaced out. There may be 500,000 humans and 500,000 of this and 500,000 of that. The Greys, reptilians, and the human aliens all have their own colonies and their own worlds, which we're not living on. But there's other worlds that we are living on.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm not going to do any comparisons because I'll just get myself in trouble. But I could see why a Grey wouldn't want a human living on their home world, especially if you smoke and drank and spit and coughed and farted. I'm thinking the Greys are like, no, you stay on your own planet. You're stinking up and tore up your own planet. So anyway, getting back to what we were talking about, who in the government really knows? So we told you that. So let's get back to Reagan for a minute. So we told you about Pine Gap, and of course, and then there was the HAARP facility. The HAARP facility uses giant lasers to punch holes through the ionosphere. For what? No, when you ask, nobody gives you an explanation for why.
Yeah.
And then there's supposed to be some of them that are sent up and bounced back to Pine Gap. So what I'm thinking is these suckers have an energy port in Alaska. They charge up the weapon and they bounce it off a mirror down to Pine Gap, and Pine Gap aims it and fires it. It probably doubles the power.
They're probably having to collect plasma in the atmosphere.
Yeah.
And send
so
it to
both sites can probably fire independently, but when they're trying to fire something big, I bet you they can fire in tandem. I bet you they can use the power from both sites. And then, of course, there's Star Wars. And then, of course, there's Ronald Reagan's 7 speeches when he talks about alien invasion.
What would happen if?
He said, the very first time he did the speech, he says, what would it take to unite the planet Earth would be an alien invasion. And then he went on to give that speech 6 more times. The man knew something that we don't know. I mean, he was paranoid. I mean, he instituted 3 programs for the defense of this planet. And serious programs. I mean, today they're even more serious programs.
Mm-hmm. If they're still ongoing, they have advanced 40 some years.
Yeah, last I had checked, Pine Gap was still. I know the one in Alaska is still in operation. I know they were still working on STS. Pine Gap had said in 2000 that they were shutting the facility down, but one of the ICAR researchers was digging around. I think it was in 2004, and found a bunch of manifests from Pine Gap for food and electronics parts,
office supplies,
all kind of stuff. So in full operation is what they were. So once he found that he knew where to get it, he tracked them up until about 2018 because they're still in operation today. Well, according to the Brits, it's the Joint British Defense of Outer Space, the Joint U.S. British Defense of Outer Space. And what do we need this for? Who are we defending ourselves from?
Yeah.
Obviously, somebody knows something we don't know.
In the words of President Reagan's, what would it take to unite the planet speech? It's exactly what. I've lost my train of thought. Damn it! It sucks getting old.
Yes, it does. What can you do there? Jimmy Ray, what's that? It's well, Christy actually asked that question earlier. How do we know that we're the ones that fired it? And
we don't.
In reality, we don't. We don't.
It was an unknown
we're only
spot
guessing.
in the air object.
But for the fact that it missed so badly, I'm thinking it was us.
I mean, it could have been a warning shot across the bow by aliens as well, but you would think that their device probably would have hit it.
I would think so. I would think it would have got much closer anyway. What's that? Randy Lewis Moss. What do you think? You the football player, man? Anyway, I've been forgetting to ask you, where are you from? San Diego. I've been to San Diego. I like San Diego. Yes, I do. It's nice down there. What's your question? Why don't they tell the presidents? Because presidents are not part of the full-time government. Presidents are part-timers. They're only here for 8 years or 4 years.
If they're there for 8 years.
Yeah. So 4 years to 8 years is what a president is here for. So really and truly, there's no need to tell them.
Yeah.
Did you know most presidents?
They're flighty, panicky, herd mentality creatures that will cause too much of an uproar if they're told.
Do you know most presidents have never been to Area 51, and until recently, they didn't even know it existed. Until a lawsuit, most of them never knew it existed. I know. How can that be that there's a government thing running out there that we don't know about? And who
and
funds it?
all of our frenemies like Russia have specific times when they're allowed to fly satellites over it and take pictures. And
yes,
there's never any activity in those pictures because guess why? We know when they're flying over, so we cease activities until it flies past where it can't take any pictures.
Yes, and I think when we dropped the medium range missile treaty, we dropped that as well. And somebody was bitching about it because Russia was bitching about something. We flew a high flying satellite over their country the other day. And,
oops.
I don't think it was whoops. I think it was on purpose, but
yeah, no, I know that was sarcasm.
No, I know it was. It's I was doing that for the audience. It's no, Frank. I mean, that's all stuff Friday night. So you know what we might do? We might do Jesus first on Friday night and the rest of the stuff in the second half. Because I can see if we get too far into it, it'll be hard to get into the conversation we were going to have.
Yeah.
So yeah,
so it's going to be pretty tough.
It's
a deep conversation.
So when Jay writes it up, what's going to be the first 2 hours will be that particular conversation, or as long as it lasts. I mean, it may not last that long. It may last longer. And then whatever news we want to talk about, or y'all's girlfriend Kamala Harris and stuff, we'll talk about in the second and the third hour. I didn't vote for her. No, I voted for Kennedy. Yeah, I voted for Kennedy. He was still on the thing down here. I said, Kennedy, go.
He was on our ballot here in Pennsylvania too, but he didn't get very far.
Well, no. So I was saying down here, I was the blue spot in the sea of red. Look, in Mississippi, I could have voted green, yellow, orange. It wouldn't matter. It's not going to make any difference. Louisiana, same way. You're not. It's a red state. Yeah, it's a red state. Maybe Kamala should have believed in extraterrestrials and called them up and said, "Oh, hey there, Bob the Greg. I need a favor, man. I'm getting my ass kicked here." Friday night, just anything you want to know. Friday night. This Friday, even though we're going to be doing Jesus, Chip Ravenshaw might stop by. He used to be a host on the network. He hosted with us for a long time. Him and his wife did for a while, and then Giovanni will be joining us on Friday the 13th. He's been on the network before, so he's going to be with us. Well, we haven't been doing guests on this show. Now, Michelle DeRoche will be here on the 18th. Well, we've been doing more guests on Friday nights and we'll start bringing guests back here when somebody gets interesting enough to bring on. But I mean, look, guys, let's be honest. I have done every ufologist that exists that's even worth talking to. And not once, not twice. I mean, before Stanton had died, I had interviewed him more than 24 times. I've interviewed Richard Dolan at least twice. I mean, at least 12 times, sorry. Everybody, Peter Robbins, you name them, I've interviewed them. It doesn't matter who they are.
Yeah. I've interviewed the Scott, the English guy, Neil. No, Nick Redfern. I've interviewed him 6 times on Jeff's show.
And Nick, if you do him across a network, he's probably been on a network more than 100 times.
Yeah, and
even Bassetta's probably been on a network.
He does Bigfoot. He does every aspect of UFO. He doesn't stop at just aliens.
Yeah. Well, Steve is what we not Steve. Nick is what we call a 9 to 5 writer. So Nick and I have talked about this before. He wakes up at 9, goes in there, does his thing from till 5, and he writes. I don't know how many books he's got. I'd have to look it up. He's got a lot.
He's got lots.
He's got a lot of books. He's a 9 to 5 writer. He can do it. Well, I meet a lot of authors because I deal with writers of the future. And before that, I had done a lot of authors. If I had to sit down to date, I would say I've probably interviewed more than 500 authors at least. Just the ones I've done from Writers of the View is well over 200. Yeah. Well, it's writers and illustrators on theirs. Well, he's
got 4 pages, 74 titles.
Jeez, he's
4
outrageous.
pages on
Hey,
Amazon.
Caitlin, how you doing down there? What's that, Frank? So no, I mean, if you want to listen behind the scenes, you can. You drop us a line, and we can drop you into the green room, and you can sit and listen in the green room if you don't want to do it on one of the other things. I invite personal friends in the green room to listen, but I mean, they can watch us on YouTube or anywhere else. Well, people get scared sometimes, but we got to go. One last question. Who's going to get it? Let's see. Nobody in this room. Nobody in this one. Maureen, where are you writing in from? Daytona Beach, Florida. Hey, how you doing down there? What you got for us? Why would ET be interested in this planet? Well,
why indeed?
That's way too much for the time we got left. But some of it real short.
Material, genetic material, water, food, and there may have been a civilization here before us that they accidentally killed,
or that's still here. We just don't know about.
Maybe so. Yeah.
More than likely. What do you? No, we ain't got time for that. Well, it's a good chance that our ancestors came from Mars.
The 5th planet, Nibiru, that's been destroyed, which is now our asteroid field.
It's see, Jay's talking about planet Nibiru. So Nibiru was always said to be 5 times the size of Earth. Well, the asteroid field, if it was put together, would be 5 times the size of Earth.
And shockingly enough, it would be the 5th planet.
It would be the 5th planet. So, but we know Nibiru's most of the stories weren't true because even if it was on a 3,600-year orbit, they said it would come close enough as the moon did, it would destroy our planet.
Yes.
There'd be nothing left. Now, the tidal forces from something 5 times the size of us would destroy us.
It would do to the 5th planet, the asteroid field, it would do that to us.
It would do that to us. So we know none of that's true. Science rules all of that out. Now, was there a planet that was moving around out there and passing in between Jupiter and Mars where we could see it with stuff like that? That's possible, but it couldn't have got any closer than that to us because it would have destroyed us. More than likely, it was a planet that had been being tracked because if you go all the way back about 6,000 years to the Sumerians, they've got one mention of this planet that comes through, and the Egyptians have one mention and nothing since. So it should have come by 2 more times since then, and it hasn't. Because it's destroyed, and I don't think they actually seen it on that time. What we're talking about, I think they had been told where it was. Past. Yeah, I think they were just looking where it was, and then of course there was the asteroid field.
I think whatever it is that happened to Nibiru happened a long time ago, and it probably falls into the Velikovsky stuff. You have to look at Velikovsky's works, where there's like a shotgun blast of material that came through the inner planets and destroyed the 5th planet. Ripped the water and atmosphere off of Mars, dumped it on Earth, and captured Venus, maybe turned Venus sideways, and Venus rotates a different direction than all the other planets in our solar system. We don't know what happened. It happened so long ago, but it is interesting, and that's like a mini series.
And it could have simply just been whatever destroyed the 5th planet, all the debris, because we know that Mars has 2 moons. And then they're not moons, they're asteroids. So they were captured. We know something hit Mars so hard that it created Olympus Mons. We know at least 2 giant impacts on this planet. And we can't tell on Venus because it's turning the surface over so much. There's no way
a
of knowing.
giant electrical gouge across the face of Mars from something coming really
Yes.
close and discharging an electrical discharge, a static discharge, or
Which could have been any big asteroid made out of certain metal materials. So
Yeah.
it's the problem here is, guys, is more than likely whatever destroyed the fifth planet is what tore up these three planets. And what gets scary about that is when you think about that, the fifth planet could have been the reptilians' home or the humans' home, because it probably was a human's home because of the mass size of them. The Greys could have been from Mars, and the reptilians could have been from Venus.
Yeah.
And because they say Venus was probably a water world at one time. So if that's true, that's probably why they're still hanging around in the solar system to see how we evolve. You know, they have a vested interest in to see how the solar system survives. And since we're the only surviving intelligent race that still lives here, but the stories say that the Greys come from way on the other side of the galaxy. The reptilians come from one side, the humans come from the other side. And since then, they've all been colonizing their way all the way to us. And then there's the other theory that we're just not from the Milky Way, that we're from the Sagittarius galaxy. And that's why we're here, and that's why everybody's so interested in it. So, I mean, take your pick. There's a lot of choices. Jay and I on another show will try to wear them down for y'all somewhat. And y'all can, I mean, put your 5 cents in. We're always interested in what the audience has to say, but we got to go because Michelle is on right now. I forgot who she was with, but she is tearing things up knowing her. What are you talking about? What the hell are you talking about? Hold on. Since you want to know if you want, hold on. I'll tell you. Give me a second. She has on, Preston Dennett. Stop by and see Preston Dennett. He's on right now with her. And we're going to play our way out with some Carol of the Bells, and because it's Christmas time, and we want to thank everyone for hanging out with us. So we're going to cue this up right now. And until next week, you have some fun. Don't forget, we'll be here Friday night wreaking havoc. We'll probably have a couple people hanging out with us. I know, Will, who used to have a music show on here, will probably be joining us. I'm going to see if I can get Carmen to join us because he's into music as well.
Don't we have a new show on Thursday?
We got the chat where you and I, and we need to talk and see where we want to put this show, because I don't know yet. Well, we got a show called The Chat, and The Chat is much different. It's like a smorgasbord. It's an open chat among several of the hosts in the network. Now, most of the time it'll probably be the same host, but occasionally you may see other hosts in it, or you may just see regular listeners, because people forget most of our shows, if you're a regular listener, like Christy or Joe or any of them, and you want to come on the screen with us, you just, let one of the hosts know, and we can send you a link, and you can share the screen with whoever's up here. Yes. No, we like it that way. We like to share. Don't get me wrong, I got a big ego, but it's not that big. Nah, it's not that big. It's big, people. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to lie to y'all, but it's not like that though. But we're gonna cue this up. Hold on, I gotta take a picture of Jay and I. I try to remember to take pictures of our different shows, but
and I do have a new Bob Ross up in the. Oh no, it's the old one. I forgot to put my latest one up, but it should be dry by now. Next show.
Next show. But on that note, guys and girls, I want to thank everyone for tuning in to United Public Radio and UFO Undercover. Be sure to catch Jay and I on Friday night. Jay's also hanging out. Are you with Jeff this week, or is it Carol?
I think that my last one was last Friday. I think it's going to be Wham on Friday.
Oh, that's right. He's going on vacation pretty soon, isn't he?
Yeah.
We're talking about Jeffrey Pritchard and Church of Mavis. That's his personal show. And both Jay McNichols and Wham, or Carol, whatever you want to call her, host with him. I call her Carol. She goes by Wham.
Yeah, Wham.
Wham. What do you mean? What does she do for a living? She's an English lit professor.
Yeah, she's a lit professor.
No, not a teacher, professor. Yes.
Professor. Yeah, she's a professor.
Oh, just don't ever bring up politics with her. No, unless you're a liberal, don't ever bring up politics with her. Just don't. Trust me on this. Oh, no, I'll argue with her because she's
talk your ear off. But
I'll argue with her because she's a host on the network. But no, Wham and I have had many discussions over the years. Well, see, in the old days, I used to produce everything. And then Michelle started helping me produce, but now we have a different system, so we don't always have to be babysit. But anyway, y'all going to catch this music. On this note, we're out of here. I want to thank everyone again for tuning in to United Public Radio and UFO Undercover and UFO Paranormal Radio Network. Be sure to check us out on Roku, and we're getting ready to add in Firestick. Matter of fact, I was talking with this company today because no one can tell me why it does this on and off shit. I love it. I go, you're alive, and they're not. You're alive, but when you go look, we are. So I don't. Makes me want to drink. It really does make me want to seek alcohol sometimes. Anyway, on that note, I'm going to cue this up, and we will see y'all all on Friday. Good night, everybody. Do 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 do.
Sweet silver bells,
Sweet silver.
all seem to say, throw cares away. Christmas is here, bringing good cheer to young and old, meek and the bold. Ding dong, that is the song, with joyful ring, all caroling. One seems to hear words of good cheer from everywhere, filling the air. Oh, how they bound, raising the sound, all in the dance, telling us that glory in excelsis Deo. Glory, glory, hark how the bells all seem to say, Christmas is here, bringing the cheer to young and old, meek and the bold. Ding dong, that is the song, with joyful ring, all caroling. One seems to hear words of good cheer from everywhere, filling the air. Oh, how they come, praising the song, all in a dance, and in a dance. Hey, while people sing songs of good cheer, Christmas is here. Hey, while people sing songs of good cheer, Christmas is here. Glory in excelsis Deo. Glory, all seem to say Christmas is here, bringing good cheer. One seems to hear words of good cheer from everywhere, filling the air. Oh, how they come, raising the sound, all in a dance, and in a dance. Hey, while people sing songs of good cheer, Christmas is here. Hey, while people sing songs of good cheer, Christmas is here. Hark how the bells all seem to say Christmas is here, bringing good cheer. One seems to hear words of good cheer from everywhere, filling the air. Oh, how they come, raising the sound, all in a dance, and in a dance. Hey, while people sing songs of good cheer, Christmas is here. Hey, while people sing songs of good cheer, Christmas is here. Merry, merry, merry Christmas. Merry, merry, merry Christmas. Oh, when they said, oh, we are ten measures to everyone. Hark how the bells all seem to say, ding dong, ding dong.
Ding dong, ding dong.
That is their song.